What's up, YouTube? Happy Ford Friday. I don't get caught up too much in that, but just so happens that I got some new cars today that happen to be Fords. Although we're going to look at this Chevy real quick first. I don't remember if I've shown this one or not. I did wheel swap this and tire swap. The nice thing about these Johnny Lightnings with the three-piece wheels and tires is that you don't have to drill the car. So you can see the posts are still factory spun. If you find a wheel and tire that matches up with the car that you're doing, you can just pop them off and change them out. So I did it on that. Malibu also did it on this, which I'm not real sure what to make of it yet. One of these, for the most part, every tire swap I've done, I haven't had any issues with them not fitting, but this tire right here is real loose on the back of the rim. I think the tire is a little bit too stretched out, because the way that it works is the rim goes up against the back of the rim, which is what the axle hooks onto, and then the tire kind of acts as a rubber band on the front part of the rim that you're seeing and the back part, holding it all together. And in this case, the tire is a little bit too loose, so it's just popping off. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. I think it would look better if they were chrome. But I do like the look. So there's another one. I don't do a whole ton of that with Johnny Lightning, but anyways, let's take a look at the new additions. So this one here is a Series 2 all-terrain, and I never did find this one. Luckily, I did find both of the Dodge Ram Chargers, but I never did find this Bronco. And so I found it on eBay. Basically, I went on eBay to buy the next car that I'm going to crack open. And whenever I find a car on eBay, I'll check the seller's other stuff to see if it makes sense to buy more than one, just to save some money on shipping and stuff. And so in this case, this was the other one that I found, that because I've been wanting this one and I just never picked it up. It's so sweet though, man. This thing is totally awesome. It's number 6545. So this is a casting that we've seen a lot of, and we've seen a lot of different variations of this casting. But one variation that we haven't seen very much of is the soft top, especially with the lift. In fact, I don't know if this soft top has ever come out on one of the stock Broncos. But I can tell you it hasn't been on very many of the lifted Broncos. But I don't know, I just really like the look of this. I like the fender flares with the little rivets on it. Wheels and tires look good. The detail's just amazing with the indicators, the painted grille, the custom front bumper. The wiper blades are detailed. It's an awesome color. It's just a really cool looking Ford Bronco. And, you know, I did a video on my Greenlight Broncos not that long ago. And this one here is going to make a welcome addition to that collection. Full-size spare on the back. I really dig these wheels too. Those things look so good. Very, very cool. I really wish we would see more of this stuff from Greenlight. Well, I'll get into that with the next one. Opening hood. It's always pretty cool. Always got to be careful opening the hoods because sometimes they don't close proper, as you can see there. But that's okay. I love the look of this thing. It's got a great aggressive off-road look. Alright, so this is the one that I went online to acquire. I didn't realize this one was out yet. It is from Running on Empty Series 3. So we got an All-Terrain Series 3 and a Running on Empty Series 3. This is the second time that we've seen the Ford F-100 with the lift kit. And while I open it, here's the debut of the F-100 with the lift kit. And that came out, I think it was All-Terrain, whatever the newest All-Terrain series is. And I do like this one better just because I think the graphics look better. The custom front bumper looks better. Obviously the roll bar and the full-size rubber spare all look better. So it's a really good looking truck. This one here is more basic, but there is some things about this, or I should say there are some things about this truck that are just awesome. So before I put it in front of the camera, as I look at it compared to the other one, the first thing I notice is that it's a flat paint job and there is some wear to the paint, as well as some mud splatter on the fenders down by the rocker panel. Another thing I noticed that I don't think I've seen before from Greenlight is the bumpers are not it's not a chrome bumper. It's almost like a faded chrome. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's a couple things about this that I like, and it's a certain aspect of a 1:64 scale diecast that I collect. So before I go into that, though, we'll take a look at the truck. So with the one on the right, you can see you've got the chrome bumpers, whereas with this one, they're just silver. But if you look at that rear bumper, that license plate, very close to home for me. I spent 30 years of my life in Colorado, and I definitely will have a lifelong attachment to that state. And that's why, seeing that this was Mount Evans Gas and Towing, I thought, man, I've got to have that. And then it says Idaho Springs, Colorado right there on the side. It's just so dope. I've got a Colorado State Patrol car. I've actually got a few. I've got like a Denver Police, which wouldn't really go so well with this. The State Patrol would definitely work. But Idaho Springs, it's a cool little town just up I-70, just west of Denver. There's some great restaurants up there, some really good microbrews. There's just a lot of cool stuff to do up there. And then obviously you can go up, you can drive your car all the way to the summit of Mount Evans, which I've done many a times. So this was definitely a must-have for my collection, especially considering, and I should have got them out for this video, but they just did a diorama, the Rocky Mountain Trail Climbers, I think it was. It had a Jeep Wrangler, it had a Ford Bronco, Chevy Silverado, and I forgot what the other one was, but it was a cool little diorama. They all have Colorado license plates as well. And they're coming out with another diorama from, I think, Aspen. With it's got an Aspen police car. I don't remember what the other cars are, but they're definitely hitting the Colorado theme pretty hard, which I think is really cool because, you know, it was my home for so long, and I have an attachment to that state. And particularly the Rocky Mountains, because to me, there's no place on earth like the Rocky Mountains. Not that I've been everywhere. I haven't. I've only been in probably 26 or 27 states. But from a scenery standpoint, Colorado is definitely towards the top. I wouldn't put it at the top. Washington State is unbelievably beautiful. And I just don't think if you haven't been there, I don't think you could appreciate, because it's so even going from the Colorado Rockies up to Washington State, going from here, Arizona, to Colorado, Colorado is just so much more pretty than Arizona is, in my opinion. Going from Colorado to Washington State is kind of the same thing. Washington State is just like almost unbelievably more beautiful than Colorado is. And California's got a lot of nice scenery as well. But personally, I would take the mountains over the beach and the ocean. I'm probably a minority with that opinion, but that is definitely my opinion. If I had to pick, I would take the Rocky Mountains. And I don't know what it is with Greenlight, you know, with all the Colorado stuff lately, but I'll definitely take it. I would like to see some Arizona stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff they could do with Arizona as well. But back to what I was talking about. So this looks good. It looks like the bed is straight. That's always an issue with these trucks. Whether it's the Johnny Lightning F-150 or the Greenlight F-100, it always seems to be a coin flip as to whether or not it's going to be straight. And this one looks really good. This one here, there's a little bit of a lean to it, but it's not bad. So I can definitely live with it in both cases. But what I was going to say is with Greenlight, and I was actually going to say it specifically about the Bronco here, because when these first came out, they did not have the plastic lift kit. The axles just went right through the base, and then they figured, you know what, let's make an off-road truck and put a lift kit on it, and it's probably one of the best things they ever did with their diecast. But what I'm waiting for, because they have so many other trucks that we need to see the lift kit on, this is one of them. The Dodge D100 is another one. The Dodge Ram Charger and Plymouth Trail Duster, we need to see those lifted. And I just hope that Greenlight does it, because with this truck, they didn't wait long at all. They pretty much had a lifted version of it out only about a month or two after the debut of the truck. And it's not hard to do. It's the base, as you can see here, is definitely different with these trucks than it is with the Broncos. The Broncos have a whole kind of apparatus underneath. So the lift kit on the trucks definitely looks a lot better. But this still looks really good. They could use this kit on like the Jeep Wranglers, and but you know, for the Dodge Ram Charger, I think this would be the way to go. I think it would look amazing. You could probably actually just transfer these, just pop these off. They'd probably just pop right off, and then just get some JB Weld or something. You'd have to pull the axles out of the whatever it is, the Ram Charger, which you could probably do that without drilling the base. So just pull the axles out and then put some joint compound on the base and throw these axles on, and then you'd be good to go. But that's what I want to see from Greenlight. I want to see more of their trucks lifted. It's cool that they lift the Bronco. It's cool that they lift the Ford F-100, but You know, with the modern pickups, the Dodge Ram and the F-150 and the Silverado, all of those are available with stock suspension and with lifted suspension. So it's definitely something that they put some emphasis on. So with that said, I just hope that they continue to do it with all the other awesome 4x4s that they offer. Nobody else is even close to what Greenlight's doing with 4x4s except for Johnny Lightning. They're the only other company that's close. None of the import brands that I collect do anything special with 4x4s. Kyosho has a couple of nice ones. TLV has one or two decent off-road castings, but by and large, Greenlight is where it's at. And then to me, Johnny Lightning would be second. Johnny has some really cool stuff with the International Scout and that old K5 Blazer. And actually, Johnny Lightning was the first. Actually, I don't know if they were the first, because they did on the International Scouts, they did a lift kit like this, but I don't. That was later on, I think, in the Tomy era. And I think that around that time, Greenlight was already out, and they already put out a line of the Ford Broncos by then, I think. So I'd actually have to look that up. It was probably pretty close to around the same time that both brands put out the lifted. In the case of Greenlight, it was a lifted Ford Bronco, and in the case of Johnny Lightning, it was a lifted International Scout. But the International Scout, to my knowledge, is the only truck that Greenlight ever put out with a lift on it. I'm not 100% positive on that, but I do believe that to be the case. Another thing, too, while we're talking about Greenlight trucks, you know, I talk about how I want to see the Dodge and Chevys lifted like this. Well, one thing that they have done, and some of the sample art has been released, we are going to see a Chevy C10 ramp truck, and it's not that far off. It's going to be hitting December or January, I think. So it's right around the corner, and basically it's going to be this tooling for the truck bed, but it's going to be the C10 tooling for the cab. So that is awesome. The fact that they're doing it with that truck means they can pretty much do it with all their trucks. So hopefully we'll get a nice selection of ramp trucks as well. I really do like what Greenlight's doing. The fact that they're not spending a ton of money adding licensing, tooling licenses. At least they're getting really creative with the licensing that they do have to try to keep things fresh. So that much I do like, and I've noticed Auto World has kind of been doing that too, which you know, I think their hand was kind of forced. They almost have to, but I'm glad to see it. It's unfortunate because it only seems to be happening with the Miho exclusive stuff, but if that's the start that gets the ball rolling, you know, I think that there could be a lot of really cool stuff to come with Auto World. Most of their stuff that they're getting creative with is different liveries and graphics. You know, they've always been all about staying stock cars, die-cast cars that are bone stock as they came from the manufacturer. So I think what their next step is going to be to customize the cars, put aftermarket racing rims on them, maybe put custom paint jobs, maybe put some racing graphics. I think we are going to start seeing more of that from Auto World. That's just a hunch, though. I'm basing that only on what I've seen with their M&J exclusives. But Greenlight is definitely doing a good job, and happy to add that truck to the collection. You can see too in the background, there's the M2. The M2 is a nice truck. It's a really nice truck, but personally, I definitely think these are nicer. I don't know if I'd say they're nicer. What I would say about the Greenlight is they are much better built. The fact that they have the body is spun to the base. They don't have opening doors. They don't have all the little extra pieces, which M2 brags about, but in my opinion, it's a negative, not a positive, because I think the detail on this is better than the detail on that. Where I would give M2 a definite bonus is with the insert lens headlights. That's a feature that I really like, and this truck right here would look awesome with it. But that's probably about the only thing I would give M2 the advantage on, mainly because their cars just fall apart. You know, if this thing felt half as solid as the Greenlight, then, you know, from an aesthetic standpoint, you know, I'd almost say the M2 looks nicer. I don't know, it's tough, but you can definitely tell these are built more solid. Nothing rattles. You're not afraid anything is going to fall off. Whereas with this one, let me take the toolbox out. It's just, I don't know, just not a fan. These bumpers always fall off. I don't know. I'm probably in the minority on that one too. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really do like these M2 Ford trucks. These are probably, I think at this point, this is the only M2 casting that I have. I did keep a couple of the Ford Falcon club wagons, and I think that's about it for M2. I have a couple cars that were roped to me that are Mopar muscle cars, so I did keep those just because I actually think M2 does a really good job on the 69 Roadrunner. But even with that, I think I still like the Greenlight a little bit better. So there you go, a couple of awesome new Ford off-road trucks with the Bronco and the F100 from the Mount Evans Gas and Towing. Idaho Springs, Colorado. Standard Station. That just looks so good. The only thing, you know, with the mud splatter, I think they really should have done muddy tires and muddy rims. And they've done that before, you know, in the All-Terrain series. I've got a Jeep Wrangler that's got muddy wheels and tires, and it looks killer. And I think this truck, if there was ever a truck to do it on, this would have been the truck. But overall, I give it a very high score, probably an 8 out of 10. This probably the same. I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10. This one here I'd give a 9 out of 10, just because of the creativity on this one. They really did a nice job with this one. So, all right, well, that's the video. We'll see what diecast comes about this weekend. I was going to be giving up the diorama tomorrow, but I've asked the guy that's taking it if we could wait another week, because I'm still waiting on some stuff, and I'd like to do videos when that stuff arrives. So as soon as that stuff arrives, it's pretty much the last stuff that I'm waiting for before the move. I'll get that video made. I'll show you guys what it is. There's some pretty cool stuff that you don't see very often. And then after that, we'll say goodbye to the diorama. And then after that, we'll say goodbye to the noisy fan. And then I'll get to the new house, and I'll get a diorama built. And we'll get right back to making diecast videos. So As always, thank you for checking it out. Have a great weekend. Hopefully you do well on your fantasy football, and go Broncos.